80 years ago, the Tower of Druaga was destroyed by the King Gilgamesh, but in the present the same tower reconstructed itself. Inside the tower we find our hero, Jill, climbing the tower with his friends to defeat the evil god who lives on the last floor. This is Jill's dream. He owns a golden armor and sword as tokens and fights his way through the tower until he finally manages to beat Druaga. After the fight ends, we find an unconscious Jill being carried away by his companions. As Jill wakes up, he finds that his companions are running away from something, as if they're being chased. Confused, he asks about the situation, whereas the princess and his enemies. His companions briefly explain that they're being chased away because even now Jill is a guardian, a defensive type of class. He still couldn't hold a single hit in his first fight. He got knocked out right away, destroying their formation, which resulted in them being chased away by monsters. Jill finally realizes it was only a dream. They're inside the tower. He failed in his first fight, lost his equipment, and now he's cornered by the enemy, almost without any possibility to escape, and his team only brands him as useless, managing to escape the horde of monsters due to the patrol of Uruk's special guard unit. They leave the tower and return to the city of Meskia. Neba, the party leader, and his brother decide to kick him from the party as he claims that Jill is not fit for fighting in the tower. Jill was only considered a useless deadweight for everyone. Depressed, Jill walks around the streets of Meskia. He feels that he still has the willpower to fight and kill Druaga. Jill heads to the employment office at the plaza to find a team. He makes a speech to find willing members for his party. Everyone is mocking Jill for his speech, as he calls them thieves only looking out for the prospect of profit. He gets beaten and injured when someone drops a rock on his head. After leaving the commotion, he meets Kaya saying that he's seriously injured. He passes out and Kaya takes him to her house, healing his injuries. When Jill wakes up, he barges into Kaya while she's taking a shower. Kaya asks him to take her and her companion Ami into his team and climb the tower. King Gilgamesh's parade arrives in Meskia to perform an inspection since it's almost the summer of Anu. Anu is the king of gods. Every 5 years he gives a blessing to reduce the power of the monsters inside the tower. During the parade, he notices his Neba with his companions and follows them. He listens to a plot to kill King Gilgamesh during the night after invading his guest house through the sewers. Jill decides to stop them and at nighttime, accompanied by his companions, tries to stop the assassination. But Jill discovers he was too late. Neba arrives and forces Jill to escape the scene of the assassination. Neba wasn't the killer. He knew about the plot because he wanted to save the king. On the next day, everything still looks normal. Even the king's troops act as if nothing happened. During the inspection ceremony, Jill is taken aback when he sees a healthy King Gilgamesh sitting on his throne. He was cursed with immortality by Druaga. According to Neba's intel, the man behind the assassination plot was a mage named Pazuzu. As Jill and his companions were having a meal on a street stall, a massive slime appears, creating havoc in the street. A young girl named Kappa was engulfed by the slime but ends being quickly saved by Ami. Kappa thanks them. Noticing that Jill and his friends are climbers, she asks if they can allow Melt, her master, to join their party. Kappa takes the group into a bar to meet her master. He seems just a drunk mage. Meanwhile, while the group talks in the bar, a group of soldiers appears and arrest all members of the party. While in jail, Jill thinks it's because of the assassination, but the guards ask Kaya to accompany them. Kaya meets the king. She's his granddaughter. He gives her one of his swords, praying for Jill's future. Suddenly, some monsters start falling from the sky. Due to the commotion, the group manages to flee the prison and end up entering the tower. As they start their new adventure inside the tower, right in the beginning they end up facing a horde of spider demons. But their teamwork is sloppy. There's no synergy, making it more difficult than expected. Somehow managing to clear the horde, they take some rest and talk about their experience. The team is full of newbies. Only Ami has experience and knowledge about the tower. Ami is now the responsible one to guide the group through battle strategies and the rules of the tower. On the other side, being able to notice others' progress, Pazuzu decides to enchant a horde of Kusaraks and attract it into Jill's group as they're sleeping. Jill and Kaya, being the ones on patrol, notice the horde and woke the rest up. Everyone wants to escape, but Jill on the other hand wants to fight. How can they reach the last floor if they get beaten right on the first? Everyone agrees. Neba notices the horde of monsters and realizes they're heading up in his brother's direction. He decides to try and save his brother but arrives late. Neba looks around for his brother's corpse, but he only finds Jill and his group resting due to exhaustion near the corpses of Kusaraks. During their path, Jill and the others find a signboard indicating a shortcut on their way. but pathing through this shortcut they will find a series of different traps to delay them as much as possible. Through the path there will be several orbs. Crushing those orbs will result in several changes, from gender change, dressing up in animal costumes, and some others even turning them into RPG early video graphics. When they finally manage to reach the end of the path, they find a gate. To go through the gatekeeper, they must impress him or make him laugh. Jill's companions fail several times to get the approval of the gatekeeper. As a result of each failed attempt, they fall into a pit of mud. Jill claims he has no talent, but he remembers a secret family dance taught by his father. Jill performs the dance but fails to impress the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper claims someone already passed by performing it. Heartbroken, the group decides to go back and take the long way route. Jill's father never taught Neba how to dance, but at the moment Jill was being taught, his brother was peeping around. Taking the long new path, Jill and his companions come across another party that was nearly wiped out in a fierce battle with some ogres. They managed to rescue an elderly warrior named Jeez. Once he was regarded as a legendary guardian. The group decides to make a stop at a camping area along the way. The group is unable to rest. Jill got his wallet stolen by a boy, Yuri. Kawapa and Melt got into a heated argument. He ends up firing her. Kawapa leaves and decides to go on her own but notices Yuri passing by. She chases him to get Jill's wallet. In the end, Kawapa decides to accompany Yuri to find his father, which is considered a traitor who has stolen the sacred spear of the village. Jill and the others, after finding out that Kawapa went to the mines with Yuri to find the boy's father, they decide to look for them. Melt opposes it due to the initial argument. Yuri and Kawapa end up being chased by an ogre, but Yuri fell and gets hurt. Kawapa decides to act as bait and attracts the ogre by running away. She gets cornered, and as she thinks she is about to die, Jill and the others intervene and save her. They find out Yuri's father is dead and the sacred broken spear. The Uruk's army, led by General Kelb, find a one-winged dragon on their path. The dragon annihilates the scout regiment with one blow. The army gets enraged by the news and plans to kill the dragon. The two brothers have a conversation after Neba saves Jill and his companions while being surrounded by monsters. Jill wants to kill the dragon, but Neba thinks it's impossible to kill the dragon and it's just a waste of time. He just plans for the dragon to be exhausted and then kill it. That's the safest plan for his team. Jill disagrees and heads to the Uruk's army to convince General Kelb to gather all climbers to kill the dragon. Kelb ignores him and walks away, but his lieutenant gives Jill some money saying that she trusts him. Jill desperately tries to gather as many climbers as possible to kill the dragon without success. His companions start helping him, successfully motivating the climbers to aid the Uruk's army. Neba tips the dragon's weak spot and with everyone's teamwork, they manage to defeat the dragon. And as Jill returns to the campsite, he gets praised for his bravery. Jill's group decides to move forward on their climb, but they notice Jill got famous due to his past acts. Everyone sees him as special instead of the deadweight he was considered in the beginning. During their walk, Kaya collapses and informs the party that she's suffering from a fatal disease. She explains the reason that made her enter the tower is to find its cure. Jill and his party embarked on a quest to find the cause of the mysterious illness and to cure Kaya. They arrive at the location where the answer for her cure is supposed to be. It turns out to be a special floor. It resembles an arcade game. Jill enters a tower. It was the original tower of Druaga with 60 floors. While Jill is inside the tower, Kaya can control Jill as if he was a playable character in a game. While Jill searches for the cure, nobody notices that mysteriously Kaya regained her health back. When Jill reaches the 59th floor, he's able to control his body. His opponent is Druaga. Beating Druaga and reaching the last floor, Jill collapses. A person resembling Kaya shows up, saying Jill will be betrayed 3 times in the future. But all he seeks lies at the top of the tower. That woman is Kaya's grandmother, Kai, who helped King Gilgamesh defeat Druaga in the past. On his way to the top, Jill and his party fight a balloon-shaped monster in an area supported only by thin pillars. And in the end, they defeat the enemy thanks to their well-coordinated teamwork. The triumphant mood is short-lived, however, as the feebly constructed area collapses due to the explosion caused by the monster's deaths. All areas on the same floor got affected by the explosion. Neba's party and Uruk's army, which were also on the same floor, got separated and entangled together. Jill fell during the collapse. When he woke up at the bottom, he finds out Fatina from Neba's party. She suggests leaving and looking for Neba, but they can only argue. Kaya finds Neba. They notice Fatina and Jill, but they cannot see or hear them. Everyone decides to progress to find their teammates defeating monsters in the process. As they all face numerous obstacles, each group develops close bonds and begins to comprehend each other's motives and perspectives. Neba questions Kaya if she's going to betray Jill, as she manages to say that Jill will always find a way to reach the last floor. When Neba leaves, Kaya almost dies while following a shadow image of Jill. She then meets Succubus, Druaga's right hand, saying Kaya surely will betray everyone around her. When everyone finds their group back, Fatina learns that Kali was killed by Pazuzu. As the top floor gets closer, to reach it all groups must travel through a blizzard. Kai appears in front of Jill, warning him to be careful, and on his next step, the floor collapses. On the other side, Uruk's army isn't confident in defeating Druaga, but since this is the only expedition that made it that far, they still want to challenge it. To reach the top floor of the tower, every party goes in their separate ways. The Succubus appears to Neba and warns that the third season of the expedition is coming to an end, and Druaga will awaken soon. As each group continues their quests, all of the climbers' dreams, objectives, and ambitions become entwined, culminating in a fierce battle. Even if they're party members, they can only wish for one thing. If everyone wants money, they can share it. But if everyone desires different things, only the last one alive can make it. Neba gets attacked by Pazuzu. To save him, Jill asks for help from his companions. As he manages to save Neba and get to the top floor, Neba criticizes Jill instead of thanking him, claiming Jill only wants to play the hero, following their father's footsteps. On the other side, Kaya starts questioning Jill's ability to fulfill his promise to reach the top of the tower. Entering the Sky Shrine, the floor collapses, announcing the end of Summer of Anu. Now the monsters are at full strength again. It is revealed that Druaga, the evil deity, has awakened in its colossal form. Neba and his companions bravely engage with the demon god, but Pazuzu, who managed to survive, intervenes and they lose ground. When Jill realizes they have been cornered, he tries to rush to their aid, only to be stopped by Kaya, who insists they should keep moving toward the tower's top floor. Jill, apologizing, breaks free from her grip and dashes toward Druaga, forcing the climbers to employ a risky strategy to defeat the demonic deity. Neba, who has been separated from his party, fights Pazuzu, who is attempting to distract him from attacking Druaga. While the other climbers struggle to defeat Druaga, Ami tries to strike its head, but at the cost of her own life. Depressed by her death, everyone loses their will to fight. Kai appears for Jill and motivates him to do so. To defeat Druaga, Jill devises a plan with the remaining climbers to confine the demon to a small area at the top of the tower, giving them an advantage. He decides to use himself as a decoy to fulfill his role as a guardian. When Kaya sees Jill putting his life on the line for this mission, she apologizes for what she cannot say and kisses him, saying she loves him. Druaga suddenly appears and they start their fight. They confine his movements, but Jill almost gets caught, causing Neba to save him. With the help of the staff that Ami left behind on Druaga's neck after her death, the group defeats Druaga, but as Jill goes to claim the blue crystal rod, Neba turns on him. He reveals that the monster they killed was not Druaga and that the rod is a key to the tower's second half. Everyone gets confused, and Neba reveals everyone was just a pawn for his goal. He betrayed his companions, but he reveals that he's not the only traitor amongst them. As the floor floods with water, Kaya unexpectedly joins Neba and they both ascend the tower. Our story ends when Jill emerges from the water in a lake near Meskia with Fatina in his arms, shouting for Kaya's name. This is all for this anime. Give the video a like, and I will see you in the next minutes.